What's up, everyone? Gojin the Makai Phantom approaching ya, and welcome back to Ultramonth.
Most recently, if you bring up a movie that reimagined the original Ultraman, what will immediately hit people is Hideki Anno's Shin Ultraman. But the popularity has recently rung up discussion for another movie to do it in the year 2004, that being the Ultraman, or what we know it as in the States, Ultraman the Next. Its goal was to take certain plot elements from the '66 classic while mixing them in with new ideas in a much darker and dramatic tone to lead up to another TV show named Ultraman Nexus. This was meant to be an ongoing theme that went by the name The Ultra N Project. Unfortunately, the movie flopped at the box office, and the TV network f***ed over Nexus by airing the first episode at the wrong time, so it went on no further. Luckily, a lot like Godzilla vs. Biollante, the movie has grown an impressive following and is now a favorite amongst the community.
That being said, let's take a look at Ultraman the Next to see why it has earned such praise in recent time and a masterpiece of cinema.
The story begins with Shuichi Maki, who's a soon-to-be retired pilot due to having a son at home who's dying of an illness, so he made it his mission to spend time with them like a family. However, on his final flights before retirement, he ends up crashing into a strange ball of light, but for some reason comes out with very minor injuries that heal quite fast. But that isn't the only weird thing to come. He starts having these trippy dreams each night, connecting to that otherworldly experience he once felt, but things begin to make sense as he's taken in by the military and discovers his inner powers alongside a demonic force known as the One. What makes this story so incredible is the Next really managed to tackle the important plot points the original show had, but takes them in its own direction. It is a well-known fact that unlike Shin Ultraman, that was a reimagining of the entire show, the Next was mainly the first episode with other elements of it sprinkled around, especially the final one with Zeton, only him not dying as a result. The part the One nearly ends them, he's treated like Zeton, and Ultraman's interactions with Shuichi are reminiscent to that of Zophi's with him in that series. Just the Next serves that role in this case since he's already super ancient. So he's got his own hierarchy to worry about, while Zophi was of higher rank to the one who merged with Shin Hayata. This is where it pays off being a reimagining. Then they can throw in whatever they want to keep the story interesting. Our hero is more than just a pilot. In fact, he isn't even a part of a team who fights monsters. Just an ordinary flyer. But being an average Joe, he's got a life. His son is dying of an illness, he's got drama with his wife around their son, and his goal is to spend whatever time he's got left with his child. All revolving around the other bullshit he's meant to deal with from Ultraman choosing him as his host. In such a length that has the opportunity to expand upon the lore. He doesn't just transform into Ultraman in less than 20 minutes. For a good while, he's stuck having these lucid dreams he doesn't understand. And it's for an entire month for the military to actually take him in, and their main target being the One to show its face. Yeah, bro, I think your crew slipped some coke in your coffee this morning. I guarantee this is what Cosby's victims seen. In all seriousness, this was a badass modernization to Ultraman's fuse with Shin Hayata. You get a badass guitar riff to suit the vibe of this iteration, and the excuse for the host learning Noah, or in his current form, the Next, was great. And as much as I sound like a broken record for how often I use this word in my Ultra Galaxy review, Mysterious, while on the '60s show, he pretty much told us every little detail. The host even takes damage from what he's faced. I never took issue with that in other entries, since Ultramen are beings of light that can do many otherworldly things, including healing. Hell, their fuse with a host literally brings back the dead. But since the next is a lot darker, it's nice we're able to see him in such damage after having his ship destroyed, especially since this is a much weaker form of the powerful Ultra God we'd come to find later on in Nexus, so a full recovery probably would take time. Which, now that we're on Ultraman, it has always been something I loved about this universe, that he's not separated from any of his foes. Sure, he's always battled other aliens, but in this case, it's pretty much angels versus demons. Only light and dark version, where even the kaiju are pretty much the same as he is, hence the army treating the host as a potential threat. There's even an established connection brought between the two entities, where despite not seeing it with his own eyes, he was able to witness the mass murder the one went on.
準備は整えました。あとは待つだけです。
Oh shit, he's gonna take his clothes off while screaming a racist tangent like a fucking chimpanzee. I guess you could sorta compare his tie to the next to Jesus with Joseph and Mary, since he holds them to take place in our realm with his weaker state till he's able to go on with his full powers again. Now that might come off like a stretch, but looking how heavily reliant it is in biblical lore, I'm pretty sure that's what went on here. They even bring the best explanation I heard for Ultraman's timer ever. Before now, I would have assumed it was all about how long he could be on Earth using that host. But in reality, it's only that way since the heroes don't fully take over the body, so that limits them for what they can do in that moment. While a demonic beast such as the One devouring the human side, it's able to exist in this world for as long as he pleases.
マキ、私は使命を果たすため君の命を。いいんだ。
You know, I'm starting to think this was no accident. Ultraman was just an asshole and killed the first pilot he's seen and was like,
Oh no, I don't know how a situation like this could have happened. Like, this is terrible. Anyway, you mind helping me save the universe? Or else you could rot in that fucking hellhole you came from at birth, you worthless piece of shit!
That said, while he was chosen to fight the One, being he was found during Crossfire while Noah made his way into this universe, he does give him abilities to know other things like what happens with his family, so he could show up and spend time with them. The lore to the next takes everything we come to expect from Ultraman and pushes it to 100. There has always been aspects of religions thrown in, and there has always been darker aspects to be found. But this movie, and Nexus to come after, takes these aspects, executing them in such a way it stands out from the crowd.
In terms of the story it tells, I could go on longer, but that would require diving into spoilers, and I'd much rather you experience this work of art yourself rather than just listening to me talk about it.
In terms of cast, we follow Shuichi Maki, played by Tetsuya Besho, which also played a father giving up his ways in 1992's Godzilla vs. Mothra. Shuichi is pretty much this film's version of Shin Hayata. In fact, Tetsuya kinda looks like actor Suzumu Kurobe, whether or not that was the intention of casting him. But he's far more complex, as Shin was a far more simplistic lead who did his job and ended up getting selected to be the host for Ultraman to fight kaiju and the like. Even though this movie is a reimagining of the original Ultraman that was fairly simple and overall lighthearted fun, it doesn't shy away from drama. We automatically learn our replacement for Shin Hayata's reasons for something as minor as becoming a pilot. This detail explains everything we need to know, since while we haven't been told the 66 version's origin to his career path, it's different here. An event as a child caught his interest that he pursued as an adult, which he passed down to his son, who is unfortunately dying of an illness. He suffers many emotional complexities since he loves his job, but guilt piles up over his shoulders since it took a lot of time away from his wife and kid. which he didn't realize how selfish it was, at least in his eyes, till his son got ill, and 2 realized his wife was lonely about it as well. But it is through his journey with the Next, he's able to find a good solution to make his son's dream of riding with him come true, and making up for all the time lost originally. This realization pays in combat too, as it's that undying will to keep his promise that gives them the ability to defeat the dangerous Akuma in front of them while doing more good. Sada Mizuhara, played by Kyoko Toyama, while at first glance looks like a generic soldier following orders, we come to learn there's more complex nature to why she's so passionate about this mission. And a lot like Shinichi, there's something she holds dear to her heart on the line. So when we find out this detail, Shinichi is given stronger understanding of who she is and respects her goals. Just like how she gradually came to understand him, starting from having her life saved during the One's havoc. She's a rational human being, and realizing her mistake got so many people killed by letting her feelings get the best of her, she tries to put those off by acting like a lifeless soldier, while deep down she's hurt trying to take down her responsibility. It's their interactions that motivate one another to become stronger on their mission. They've both got sympathetic backgrounds involving family, so it is this common ground they have a better opportunity to work together since she knows how he feels and vice versa. The kid, by my surprise, isn't too bad himself. Having the same passion as his dad, he just wants to ride on a plane with him, and he actually doesn't want him to stop doing what he loves for his sake. It's a nice change of pace from the spoiled son we've grown used to in movies, pissy about their fathers having lives that put food on the table. And he's dying! Why can't that little bastard from Jingle All the Way get crabs or some shit? Both the wife and son serve as great supporting characters for Shinichi, since they help give him encouragement for what he needs to defeat the One. But that isn't where their characteristics end. His wife Yoko, née Yuki, though felt neglected when he was busy with work, she's by no means overly clingy since she understood his dreams and didn't want to interfere. It's only till their son gets sick she wants him there, but again, very loving, is there for him when he's having these tough times, and even vouches for him. Their moments together is genuine. You know there's plenty of drama between these two that dates way back in their relationship, but they're making it work, and them being there for Tsugumi is pretty much a teacher to Shinichi, while his duties with the Next sorta opens her eyes about everything. Something you'll notice right off the bat is there's a healthy balance of CGI and practical effects present in the movie. Of course, while the suits still look incredible, first form having proper proportions, fluid head animatronic, and a slimy mouth, the CG is dated as hell, and if you're expecting it to stand next to Shin Ultraman, you are sadly mistaken. But Japanese movie from 2004, even a movie with a bigger budget like Final Wars aged like piss. So you should know what you're getting into. But can't fault it, since judging off the concept, there's all these grotesque body transformations that is straight up demonic, while a disturbing sight if one could suspend their disbelief for the money they've had. The One's ability to speak creates some very unsettling moments that are almost horror-like. You can feel from the old footage of interviews we get how the demon is twisting his mind and setting him insane.
俺を追って
何がそんなにおかしいの？
そいつ邪魔だ。だから殺す。
The One is rather manipulative as well, making him more than a kaiju with demonic origins for the sake of edginess. His tragic origin around being a man with a family who got caught up with a monster, you can draw parallels to Jamida, only he was a father who ended up becoming one rather than getting his body and mind manipulated by one. Design-wise, it's a reimagining of Ultraman's first enemy, Bemular, only more demonic with random creatures thrown in the mix that gives him lots of different abilities to evolve to whatever he needs in that moment. In short, he's borderline limitless unless put against the opposite of him, which is light. This brings me to the next. The armor around his flesh almost seems merged with him, like he's become stone-like in his age. It's fitting for this incarnation's religious nature. First form pays tribute to the OG suit in the original Ultraman, with how the face is proportioned and style of details around them. Second looks more like the polished suit to come later, fitting as it's more powerful and color scheme is closer, making it the more definitive version. And the history he carries, while revealed in small bursts in this film since it's a prologue to Nexus, what we know here, and even more so after, makes a whole lot of sense. Even the timer is a lot cooler. The shape and size resembles that of a heart. The beating sound too, when most versions are just a beeping button. It has that form of vulnerability that, in my opinion, worked for the intensity of combat, connecting a sense of realism in the mix.
Oh no, he's seen Thailand's attempt at Ultraman! Someone get a doctor immediately! His heart can't take it!
As for the combat itself, it is nothing less than exciting. What we are witnessing is a perfect representation of light and darkness going at each other's throats, and it's great. Fight choreography places us into Sada's shoes during the fight, and since they aren't that big at that point, it allows us to see every detail to truly appreciate the effort put in. The final fight in the sky before ending it off with that epic Specium beam was, in all intents and purposes, an intelligent way to conclude a fight against the One. He's able to absorb earth creatures. We already seen what land animals are capable of with him, so why not add a set of wings into the bunch? Everything around the plot demanded this to happen. A beast who can absorb creatures, a lead who dreams of flying, and Ultraman himself being able to fly, which I might fucking add was great. He doesn't know every ability right off the bat. In fact, he isn't even granted with the privilege to fly till his next form. And this all feels like a new experience for him bodily, since he is the human host. That's his body too, and he's got just as much will as Ultraman. Their battle with the other's ambitious, the One knows what he is and sees him as nothing more than an annoyance. Since he has more control with Ultraman relying on help from a human host, he's able to get steps ahead till more supernatural aspects begin to show themselves in this heroic god. This full merge Shinichi has with the next honestly becomes extremely fascinating, as while they are one, their conscious are utterly separate. Their spiritual interaction through their battle with the One is top tier. We hear Ultraman speak to our lead, and their concern for each other doesn't only serve themselves. It's the one time he talks in this movie, outside of their farewell. But it's the only time he needed to speak. He is voiced by actor Hideyuki Tanaka, who played Sophie in Modern Ultra series, Shin Hayata in 2019's The Ultraman, and Yao Zoshima from Blue Exorcist, and his way of portraying the role is stoic and godly in all the right ways.
俺が死んだら君はどうなる？おそらくマキと一緒に消滅するだろう。じゃあこの悪魔。
The theme to Ultraman's transformation is absolutely heroic, and not in the generic way Hollywood beats harder than a pubescent boy who just found his dad's porno magazines for the first time, but something that's actually exciting and prepares you for the battle. The score for the next, being composed by Japanese rock and metal musician Takamatsu, is a mix of dramatic atmospheric stuff with heavy guitar riffs for the action-oriented scenes. And I liked that a lot. The movie is darker and in many ways edgier than what we come to expect from Ultraman. So a style such as these, while keeping the spirit of Ultraman intact, gives it a unique personality. Ultraman the Next has become a favorite across the community, and it's easy to see why. The story, while self-contained, is an excellent prologue to an equally badass TV series, Ultraman Nexus. It's unfortunate how long it took to catch on, but better late than never. It's not a masterpiece because it steps away from the traditional Ultra formula. It's not a masterpiece because it's dark and aims for an adult audience. It's a masterpiece because how superbly crafted everything is. This dark, unique direction only gives it a unique personality, which does enhance the experience since it is well made, and it's one of the entries I find myself revisiting most. So that being said, Ultraman the Next gets my highest 10 out of 10 stars.
I think we have reached the end of the video. Please comment your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed it, please smash that like button, share it around, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell for notifications to keep up to date on all my future content. Also check out my social media accounts and alt tech. Links are in the description down below. Alongside Anime Anteiku, they have been very helpful to the growth of this channel, and I can't thank them enough. If you're into anime and occasional posts of other nerdy stuff, they will provide. But that said, stay tuned till next week's episode of Ultramonth. This is Gojin the Makai Phantom, leaving the building.